everybody. Sarah Pellegrino here, your host of The Value Proposition by the Fitness Business Podcast, software and billing consultant, coming to you live with ASF and ClubOS's own Nick Hahn, VP of Product, and special guest, Katie Bossie, Senior Enterprise Account Executive at Listen360. Katie and Nick, welcome to episode 3 of Talk Data to Me.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you for joining us today, Katie. You're excited to have a special guest on the show this week.
I am just delighted to be special today.
That's right.
You're always special, not just
well,
Katie. Come on.
Extra special today because it gets to be
There you go.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, on our last episode, Nick shared with us key data points around lead to member conversion rates and which follow-up methods are most successful in today's market. So if you missed that, be sure to check out my YouTube channel to learn more. Today, in addition to hearing more from ASF and ClubOS, we'll be focusing on another EverCommerce brand, Listen360. We'll be talking about the L word today, friends, loyalty. We're diving into what loyalty data collected by Listen360 can teach you about your members and your staff. So without further ado, Katie, why don't you give our listeners some background on Listen360? Who are you and what do you all do?
I'd be happy to. Thanks again for having me. I have been with Listen360 for going on 7 years now. Listen360 is a net promoter-based member feedback platform. So we work with almost 5,000 health clubs and studios today and support those brands in gathering data from members, of course, and also other important constituencies, prospects, canceled members, employees, and really empower organizations to use that data to retain at-risk members, to get happy members out, kind of, singing praises for the brand and posting positive reviews and testimonials, and really just to use all of the data generated to build the best business that they can, to spot any areas that need improvement, but also to really double down and focus on their key strengths as well.
That's awesome. And Katie, how does it all work, right? The sending of the surveys, maybe let's start there. And then how do fitness business operators receive this feedback?
Great question. So typically we are triggering a survey at key points through the member journey. So obviously for an ongoing happy, joined member, we're sending surveys routinely when they check in. Check-in is the trigger. For prospects, we typically use either a first class or a tour to send that first impression survey to understand their impression. Canceled members, of course, we would send a survey upon cancellation. So it's all, proactive and strategically timed, and operators and teams receive that data, a summary of that data nightly via email and also through a series of dashboards and reports that are updated in real time.
Well, it sounds easy enough.
Yes.
I love that. That's fantastic. Now, Katie, the three of us have been discussing how even though the fitness industry experienced a 32.45% decline in revenue in 2020, it is expected to bounce back, exceeding pre-pandemic revenue figures by the end of 2022, which is going to be here before we know it. So does your Listen360 data support this notion?
It does. I'm so thrilled to tell you that it absolutely does. So in looking back over all of the feedback that has been submitted by members for our fitness clients at Listen360, so we looked at about 4 years of data. We saw the highest level of loyalty in February of 2022 than we've seen in the past 4 years. So that was a net promoter score of 78. Very, very exciting to see. If you're not familiar out there with the Net Promoter Score, the Net Promoter System, it is a reflection of member loyalty and a predictor for future business growth. So we're very, very heartened to see very high levels as of this spring, which indicate that the fitness industry is on track not only to delight their members, but to make money, to grow and profit this year and hopefully forever.
Well, that is good to everyone listening. Everyone's going to love to hear.
I know. Yay. Yay. Good news from the data.
No one's going to argue you on that data point.
No.
Awesome. Katie, what else is loyalty data showing you that can be helpful to fitness business operators listening in today?
That's a great question. So we were a little surprised to see what I'm about to share with you. in looking back over the past 4 years, we noticed that there was a slight slump in loyalty every single summer. So during the summer months, very predictably, there's a little bit of a dip. And, in thinking about this, of course, like people are a little distracted during the summer. Their kids are home, they're on vacation. A lot of people spend more time outside, doing activities or exercising sort of outside. So this is not terribly unusual, but I think it's a really good time, based on the fact that this is consistent, to sprinkle in what we call delighters as you are kind of improving or working on your operations. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. There is a method of classifying member preferences known as the Kano model. And that's K-A-N-O. It's essentially a way to understand how your member preferences kind of line up and how to prioritize them. There are 3 categories according to the Kano model. The first are barriers. So as you're looking at data, whether you're gathering that through a system like Listen360 or just member feedback through comment cards or a Google form, as you're looking at data, you will start to notice these different things. Barriers are things that your team must get right, or they can expect to see a decrease in member loyalty. So the obvious example of this is cleanliness. If you have a sparkling clean bathroom, no one's going to go, gosh, yes, that was awesome. The bathroom was amazing. That's not going to have a net increase on somebody's loyalty. But if it is off, it is definitely going to cause a decrease. So you want to make sure you're maintaining the barriers, but that's sort of the minimum expectation. The second category are key drivers. Key drivers work both ways when it comes to loyalty. So these are, initiatives that, if done well, will have a net increase, a net positive impact on loyalty. And if not done well, they will also have a negative impact. So great example of this would be the quality of a workout or a class. If it's great, it's going to really delight people. Loyalty goes up. If it's not great, it's going to go down. Delighters are the third category. So this is what I just mentioned a minute ago. These are wow factors, things that if you put, certain things into play within the business, they will have a really lovely wow factor and a boost in loyalty effect. But if you don't do them, no harm, no foul, because nobody expected them in the first place. So I think this time is a good moment right now in the middle of summer to employ some delighters. And a good example of a delighter would be anything that's unexpected in terms of giveaways or recognition. So I've heard of brands writing handwritten notes and putting them in lockers. I've heard of brands just giving everybody a free water bottle as they come in for the day. Anything that would be sort of a different way of recognizing someone. So maybe you have a member of the month, or member of the week, or member of the day even, or acknowledging members achieving their fitness goals, even in the slightest way. Somebody's come in every day for a week, for example. Anything that just goes a little above and beyond, doesn't have to cost a lot, that would just kind of delight, put a little cherry on the sundae of their experience. This would be a good moment to employ some of those.
That's such a great idea. And I'm assuming member engagement activities as well, right? Like you mentioned, the bringing of a friend,
yes,
things like that, hey, when it's max capacity in January, we're not really cool to do that.
Right.
But bring them all now, right?
Exactly. It's a great idea.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. Well, thank you so much, Katie, for your insight there. That's super interesting. And Nick, we have discussed so far what Listen360 does. So I would like for you to provide some insight to our listeners on how it works hand in hand with ASF and ClubOS. What does that integration process look like? Is it easy? What should we expect?
Yeah, absolutely. It's largely a matter of paperwork, right? Sign some documents, tell some preferences, and all of a sudden the data from ClubOS or ASF can be sent to Listen360 and your surveys can start going out. We obviously have a longer term roadmap of some additional touch points that we're working on, but right now we've got that base functionality there and it's exciting. What's great about it is that for ClubOS customers, it doesn't matter what member management system you're using. You could be using ASF or any other member management system, and the ClubOS Listen360 integration together is still valuable, which is great. And then of course, Listen360 works on their own without ClubOS with other CRMs. I think that's one of the big things that the EverCommerce product lines are really trying to emphasize is we're here to better serve our customers and help the clubs do better. And that is going to sometimes lead to integrations with competitors or other software platforms out there. And whatever's in the best interest of the customers is what we're here and looking to do.
That's a really great point. Thank you for bringing that up, Nick. And, just to clarify for my own purposes, and I'm sure people are thinking this too, is Listen360 integrating with the club management software, or is it the CRM system, or is it a suite?
It could be both, right? It could be both. The pie in the sky perfect integration, right, is absolutely both, because there's different points in your life cycle with a member that you might want to have ad hoc events that could trigger a survey, right? So there's a lot of opportunity for feedback that it could just be based off check-in data, or it could be based from your CRM also.
I like that, because from the CRM, you're getting that like prospect, new member touch points as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that is exciting is as more and more consumers are moving towards other forms of communication, being able to send out a text message for survey feedback is also important.
Definitely.
Couldn't agree more. Love that. Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for member loyalty data points. We're going to switch gears just a bit here. Katie, you and I have discussed, staffing challenges, staff retention, and how we can really help our listeners today with data that Listen360 already collects. So with the staffing challenges that most operators are seeing right now, is there any data or survey options that can help with staff retention?
Absolutely, yes. And we are getting more and more requests for this type of account. So ENPS, or Employee Net Promoter Score, is a very popular use case of the Net Promoter methodology. So certainly understanding member, prospect, cancels is essential. Employee loyalty directly predicts member loyalty, and it is a major influencer. So understanding the loyalty of your staff and how they're feeling in their role is a very, very good idea, and one that many of our clients are putting into place. With the member experience and kind of gathering feedback consistently from members, we encourage a very, very short and sweet survey. Typically, it's just 2 questions. You've got more leeway on the employee side. So, of course, that is someone's livelihood, right? They're coming to work every day. They are absolutely invested in their everyday life being as good as it can be. So you can definitely get away with asking additional questions in an employee survey to really understand, all aspects, the manager relationship, scheduling, even benefits. Lots of folks are getting tons of data around how they can refine the employment experience for their staff to retain those wonderful, all important team players. So very good practice in place.
That's awesome. And, going off of the employee experience as well, Katie, what about the applicant experience? Are you all working on anything to make sure that you are getting the best and the brightest in your building and you're not just losing them, that you're actually bringing them on staff?
That is the new shift that we've just seen in the past couple of months. We've just gotten our first request. So this actually came from a customer. They said, oh gosh, we really want to understand not just the hired staff experience, but the experience of anyone who applies to our company, whether they come on board or not. So that's brand new. We're so excited to be moving in this direction, because of course it's essential to understand the application process. Is it easy? I mean, if it's too cumbersome, are you turning people off? And the interview process. Do you have the right team members interviewing? Are you asking the right questions? Is it easy? Is it, accessible for applicants? So definitely something new and very exciting to see, to make sure that brands are hiring very efficiently and getting those top performers in the door as well.
That's fantastic. Nick, what do you think, my friend? Are those type of surveys going to be helpful for club owners? I think that's a home run right there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. So a little aside, we use Listen360's employee NPS internally to gauge our employee satisfaction. And as a manager of multiple departments with ultimately a lot of people who, I'm really worried about how my team's feeling and what their attitude is towards the organization, and to see the survey results and the insights, it's great. I worry that we have a lot of clubs out there that probably would have relatively poor NPS scores right now from employees because of a lot of the stress that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to COVID, the general consensus that was that the salesperson role had over 100% turnover year to year, because the average lifespan of a salesperson was only like 9, 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely gotten shorter just from the gyms that I go to and participate and the customers I talk to. So I really do worry about the employee scores, especially if you look at the difference between the employee NPS of someone who has just joined versus someone who's been around a little longer, even at 6 months or 12 months. Are their views of the organization starting to sour because of the stress they're under in the industry?
Mm-hmm.
Or just in life in general.
Or in life. I mean,
There you go. Yeah.
We all bring our life stress to work. That is for sure.
Getting harder and harder not to. So.
Just paying for gas is getting frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. Wow. Well, that's a fantastic point, Nick. Thank you so much. Katie, I know we've talked about member loyalty, we're talking about staff retention, loyalty, new hires. Are there any other surveys? It doesn't have to be in those categories, but are there any other surveys that Listen360 is working on right now that you are just over the moon excited about?
It's funny. Most of the additional survey kind of constituencies or account types that we build come as requests from our clients, and sometimes they really surprise us. So we've got clients that want to survey donors. We have clients that want to survey their vendor partners. We have clients that are surveying board members. All sorts of different constituencies exist within Listen360. So it really comes down to which constituencies are important to each client and who do they want to hear from. It's just essential to stay close to any relationship, right? So there's wide applicability of asking for feedback, whether it's member, employee, or some other group. That's just very important to the business.
That's so neat. And Katie, in your opinion, what is the overall benefit to a health club owner or operator to including Listen360 in their suite of software services?
Well, the short answer is that understanding the member experience will lead to changes that drive business growth and profit. So there's just no way for this not to have a benefit, right? Staying close, understanding the hard to hear stuff, really digging into what could be improved upon, but also, like I mentioned earlier, understanding what is setting your brand apart, positioning and marketing your strengths according to what your members absolutely love about you. So you're hitting it from 2 points. You're, catching things that could be causing attrition, that could be causing negative word of mouth, and you're also advertising and sharing the things that really make your brand your brand. So the short answer is you're going to make money, you're going to grow in profit, right? If you listen to your customers and truly take to heart what is most important to them.
That's amazing. Nick, your turn. Good luck following Katie on that answer. But from the software side of things, club management software side of things, what is your opinion and what do you think is the overall benefit to including Listen360?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just so important to retain customers, and that is the number one challenge that we face. It's so much harder to get a new member than it is to retain existing members. And it seems obvious to get member feedback, but you got to be looking for the trends below the surface, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure, we need new equipment. We need paint. Those are things that operators are already going to know about their locations, especially once you scale up and you have more than 1 or 2 locations. But what's happening when you're not there? What's the staff interaction like? And how can you make those corrective measures and actions to overall reduce your churn rate of your membership churn, which at the end of the day, if we can have a 1% reduction in our membership churn annually, that's going to be a significant revenue gain. So it's those little things that can really help make the difference.
Yeah. And I'll just add that our clients have reported between a 5 and 14% decrease in attrition in the 12 months after implementing Listen360. So it doesn't have to be a formal system, but staying close to the customer base and the member base, understanding what is impacting them on a day-to-day basis will help you to keep them and to drive that retention rate through the roof.
Oh, there's just so much goodness in this episode. I cannot wait for everyone to hear this. Well, thank you so much for your insights today into member and staff and potential staff loyalty. So Katie, if anyone listening wants to learn more about Listen360, where should I send them?
Please send them to sales@listen360.com. We would be delighted to chat with you. You could also visit listen360.com to see some of the different services that we offer and case studies with our fitness clients.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us for episode 3 of Talk Data to Me. Catch us in October for episode 4. Bye, friends.